Hey Warmies, welcome to the warm up where we're putting trust over transactions and turning lurkers into loyal customers. Because engagement doesn't equal sales, but trust does. Today we're digging into why your lack of sales isn't because your content sucks. If it was just a content problem, there would be way more creatives booking consistent clients. The truth is, you need a strategy that goes beyond consistency, virality, and engagement because a viral post will not fill your inbox with steady inquiries, but a warm-up plan will. In this episode, I'm breaking down why more content isn't the answer to more sales, what's actually happening with those quiet followers, the difference between a cold following and a warm community, and how to identify how hot your current audience is, and simple steps to start generating real heat in your business. Part of what I want to do in the warm-up is help you break free from this mindset that Instagram engagement and followers equals success and sales. When people join Launch Your Own Way, that's usually all they have as far as a marketing plan goes, if they have one at all. It's basically post on Instagram when I have time and hope that someone random finds me, or alternatively, I get a word of mouth referral. Quick side note, I have a whole spiel on the freelancer mindset versus the brand mindset that's going to be coming up in another episode. So stay tuned for that. But here's the thing, more followers is great. Engagement is awesome, but neither necessarily equals a warm, ready-to-buy community. I've seen firsthand. In fact, our next episode, you'll hear from Michelle, who sold out every single launch with less than 1,000 followers. On the flip side, I've worked with people with 50K followers, 100K followers who cannot convert to save their life. That's usually why they join Launch Your Own Way. And why is this? It's because the warm-up is about something way more important than your follower count. It's about that gap between when people discover you and when they become clients. And there's so much more in that gap than hoping to go viral on Instagram. What we're really looking for here is consistent sales, right? We want to get away from that roller coaster of a burst of inquiries, followed by months of crickets and existential panic. We've all been there, and I know that you know what I'm talking about. I always say your sales are going to match your energy. And that's why in this episode, we're really going to talk about not only the action plan to get your warm-up strategy started, but also the mindset it takes to move away from the binary of Instagram and referrals and into this warm-up strategy, this warm-up ecosystem in your business, where you're constantly creating a ready-to-buy community. Not just from the one-off viral post that you might have, not from relying on algorithms to hit or not hit, but strategically building out a warm-up strategy that is going to continue to bring in leads into your business. That's why I'm really getting you set up to start thinking in a different way. This is what I call campaign thinking. It's a term I coined to help you stop thinking only as far as your next project or your next Instagram post and start thinking about your marketing and sales more holistically. Let's talk about campaign thinking for a minute. Think about any consumer brand that you love. They don't just randomly post on Instagram. They don't just rely on their best customers to sell for them. They don't just rely on random project to random project. They have a plan. They plan ahead. They have a strategy. They warm you up through multiple channels and they build trust over time. That doesn't mean that you need to be everywhere. It doesn't mean that you need to start your TikTok account right now. It does mean that you need to think about what that looks like for you beyond the occasional post or the random email that you might send out to your list. Before we get into all of that, let's really think about where your audience is right now as far as their heat level. It's really good to get a baseline temperature so you know where you're starting from and what your next steps are going to be as far as warming up your audience. But before we dive into checking your audience temperature and starting your warm-up strategy, I want to address something crucial. We have to be clear on what we're warming people up toward. What's the end goal? Where do you ultimately want your community to end up in your brand ecosystem? Think about it like this. When you start a road trip without knowing your destination, you're just kind of cruising, right? And you might be on cruise mode in your business right now. You don't really have a plan, and it feels like things are just happening to you rather than you driving toward your predetermined destination. We really want to change that. And I hope that this podcast helps you get clear on where that destination is. So what are you warming your audience up toward? Is it a high ticket service, a signature course, a membership, a product suite? The destination is going to influence every touch point in your warm-up journey. It's going to shape your content, your warm-up offers, your entire approach. So have a place in mind, have a destination in mind. Usually it's a core offer that you want them to end up in. And you might have multiple. If you're a brand and web designer, you might have brand and web design, and you want them to end up in either or place. Totally fine, as long as you just have the ultimate offer that you want them to be warming up into. Now let's do a temperature check. Your audience heat level isn't just about numbers, it's about behaviors and interactions. We're just going to quickly go over some signs that your audience is cold, warm, and hot. If your audience is ice cold, there'll be some signs. You might feel like you're screaming into the void when you put anything out there. Your email list might have not grown a lot in the past 6 months. It's kind of just sitting there dormant, and you keep saying you'll get to it eventually. You get really random, sporadic inquiries, and you're never quite sure where they found you or how they came through. You feel like it's really hard to explain what you do to people, and people don't quite understand. Or when you do, it's very generic, like I'm a web designer for female entrepreneurs, versus something that you're super, super known for within your area of expertise. You're not having meaningful conversations with your customers and your clients. It feels like you're really just having this one-sided conversation where you post, no one gets back to you. They don't go anywhere, and you're like, what is the point of this anyway? Like, why am I even showing up here? Let's look at signs that your audience is warming up. You're having DM conversations that aren't just emoji reactions. People are referencing your content in messages. You get a pretty steady stream of inquiries every single month, and you're starting to get known for something beyond your skill set. You have a point of view, you have a signature style. People really recognize you as a leader in this space. And here are some signs that your audience is hot. People are joining your wait list for your next offer. They are waiting in line for you to drop your next offer. And when you do, they're purchasing as soon as it goes on sale. You're being invited on things like podcasts, panels, speaking gigs. You're really kind of seen as a leader in your space. You have a steady stream of inquiries, of purchases, regardless of whether or not you're in a launch or not. Your newsletter is always growing, and it really feels like you have this community around you who are ready to rally for you whenever you have something new to offer them, who are spreading the word about you. So based on these 3 descriptors, ice cold, warming up, and hot, where do you feel like your audience is right now? Take a moment and really think about it. And they might be in between. You might have some people who are really cold and have a really small audience that's warm. What we want to do in this episode is really think about what the strategy is behind bringing not only regular leads into your business, taking those people who are following you, who are signing up for your newsletter, who are listening to you on a podcast, and taking it to the next step, really taking it deeper and making sure that they join in on your ecosystem, that they become part of your community. Okay, if you loved that episode and you want more, you've got to check out the full episode of my podcast, The Warm Up. This was just a sneak peek, but the full conversation goes way deeper. Plus, there's way more episodes for you to listen to. So head to cominguproses.co/warmup, give it a listen, and I'll see you over there.